Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Monday View and today we are looking at the Derwent Coloursoft colored pencils. It's a 72 color pencil set from Derwent. Derwent has been around for a very long time, has a very good reputation for all of their pencils. In my opinion, I haven't found a bad one yet. But I don't have all of the Derwents. I have most of the Derwents, but I don't have them all. All right, so the color range in the Derwent colored pencils is a really good color range. We have many yellows into our oranges, our deep yellows in our oranges, into our reds. Personally, I would like more red, but that's just me. Into our dark reds and our purple reds, into our pinks, into our gray purples, into our purples, and then into our blues, and into our blue greens, and into our greens. Then we have some browns, some light peachy tones for skin tones, as well as some red browns, and then into our blacks and grays. Our white is very opaque. It does stand out very well against the black. So we will be doing the testing on these because on this swatch chart I don't have the testing done. It is a 4mm core and they do have a specific blend for the Coloursoft, and I do believe it is a wax-based blend, a higher wax content. So of course we're going to do our water test as well as our smudge test, our 3-color blend, rainbow, of course our blender, and then our white. I'm going to zoom you in so that we can see a little bit better. There we go, that's better. Just so you can actually see what I'm doing. All right, so we're going to start with our water test. The reason why I do a water test is because I use water mediums on top of my pencils for sparkle and extra accents with things such as stickles and Wink Estella, anything like that, and those are all water-based. So if the pencil moves with water, I need to remember to seal that before adding that water. Otherwise, it will pick up the color of the pencil or move it around. Also, if you do a lot of watercolor backgrounds, this is a good test for you to do to make sure that the pencil isn't going to bleed into your background. So I'm just layering this on. And these can be smooshed together. They're a little bit harder than other wax pencils, so they don't smush as well, but they do cover very quickly and completely with just a little bit of pressure. So try not to press too hard. I haven't had a lot shatter. The first box that I got of these looked like it had been run over. So they did replace that set, and I haven't had any issues with them, which is good. I don't have a lot of breakage issues. They sharpen really well. So we've got lemon yellow, which is number 30, red, which is number 120, and blue, which is number 330. I will post the this swatch chart on the video, below the video, as well as the place that you can get them on Amazon. I do suggest that you look around because sometimes you can get them cheaper at things like Dick Blick's or Jerry's Artorama, things like that. Cult Pens is another good one. Or even just straight from the Derwent site, a little bit cheaper sometimes than Amazon. So I strongly suggest that you shop around, but I will leave the link for the Amazon listing as well as the link to this swatch chart if you want to swatch it on my swatch chart. You don't have to, of course. Of course, it will be an affiliate link, and what that means is that I get a couple of pennies if you purchase anything after clicking my link. Alright, so we're just doing the exact same thing for the smudge area. Now I'm trying to make sure that I lay down just as much color as I would if I was coloring. So if I was putting this color down on a page, I would cover as much of the white spot as I can and blend that together with the pencil. It is always best to blend with the same type of material as the core. So sometimes it is best to blend with your pencils than a blender pencil. However, there are some times that I don't want to add that extra color, so I use a clear blender pencil. Let's not put those in there. I've got a pile of pencils here from the page that we're coloring. Alright, so I've got my water brush here. We're going to test the yellow. And it's moving a little bit. Test the red. And it's moving just a little bit, not enough to cause any issue. And same with the blue. Now I'm not scrubbing the brush against the page or against the color because that's not what I do. If you are one that does scrub the brush across your entire page while you're painting something, you might want to scrub the brush a little harder. Now the smudge test I do because my chemical makeup in my skin does move pencils. And I know this because I have ruined pages before just by moving my hand back and forth over an area I've colored. So I do the smudge test to make sure that I'm not going to ruin a page just by moving my hand. And as you can see, my chemical makeup in my hand moves that deeper color, especially the red. So I would make sure that I blend this first or seal it with my Caran d'Ache blender, which does put a really heavy layer of a good wax on there, which seals that color in. Now we're going to do a 3-color blend, and this one we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to actually do it with blues because I have blues out. I just didn't want to pull anything else out. I wanted to be lazy. Alright, so we're going to use electric blue, blue, and baby blue. We're going to start with the electric blue, which is our darkest color here. Well, in this set anyway. Again, I'm just going to very lightly fill this in, and then we're going to build that color up. You can push on these pencils and get that color all down at once. I have a tendency to layer. So the fact that these do layer is really, really nice. And they layer for days. You can color with these and go over top and over top and over top and still get more color on there. Alright, almost to the saturation that I want. And like I said, I'll come back and add to it if I feel that it needs more. Now we're going to use the blue. After swatching and testing so many different pencils, it's amazing to me the differences in what they list colors as. You know, every set of pencils has something that is classified as blue. and red and that sort of thing. And it's amazing to me how different those colors can be. Alright, so I'm just going into the tail here and building up that color, making sure that I leave the tail for the next color. The tail is what you blend your color into so that you get a smooth blend. Sometimes a pencil, even though you've left a tail, will not give you a smooth blend. And that's why we do this test, to see if we can get a smooth blend into each color in a gradients. All right, the next color is baby blue. I think I need to put a little bit more of the blue color down. And as you can see, as we clean things up and fill in that white spot, you can see even though I've really saturated this area with color, I can still add color, which is awesome. And they color really, really nicely on coloring book pages. I'm just going to do the same thing with the electric blue. Just going to add a little bit more, fill in that white spot, and blend that in. Trying to get it even. And then we're just going to soften up that edge. What I mean by softening up the edge is taking the next lightest color and just going over the edge of the first color and dragging that into the lighter color and creating that gradients. So as you can see, we've got our dark, our medium, and our light, and we do have a pretty good blend and gradients there. Now for our rainbow, we are of course going to do our rainbow with our yellow, red, and blue. We're going to start with our red, and we're going to lay down a good heavy layer of color, and make sure that we put a tail to blend into to create the next color. What a rainbow blend does is it tells us whether or not these pencils can be blended together to create new colors. So from red we go to yellow, and I'm starting back here because I want to be able to not have red in the blue so we don't end up with a purpley green. And then of course we've got our yellow. And then we're going to go into our red and create that orange. Now, because I put the red down first, that's going to be a red-orange. Now, if I go over the yellow with the red, it'll be a yellow-orange. And you can get two different types of orange out of that. All right, now we're going to do the same with the blue. I'm going to put down a heavy layer of the blue. And if you want to, you can also go from blue to red and get that purple tone as well. Now we're going into the yellow with the blue and getting that green. Now again, because I put down the yellow before the blue, it's going to be more of a yellow-green. If I put the blue down first and then the yellow on top of it, it would be more of a blue-green. Just blending that together with the yellow. And the darker the blue, the darker the green. Like so. So as you can see here, we've got our yellow-green, and here we have our blue-green. So definitely does blend to create new colors, which is what this test is for. Make sure I get a good amount of there. So we've got our red, we've got our red-orange, we've got our yellow-orange, our yellow-green, our blue-green, and our blue. So definitely did well for that. Now we're going to take two colors here, and we're going to test a blender, and then we'll take two different colors and we will test the white. So with the blender, I'm going to use Royal Purple. And I'm going to put a little bit higher than I normally do because I'm going to test two different blenders on this. We're going to test the Caran d'Ache blender as well as the Derwent blender. I find the Derwent blender works really well on oil-based colors and colored pencil, sorry. But because it is made by the same company, oh, I'm off screen, sorry. Because it's made by the same company, it should blend the pencils together. And they do say that when using a Derwent product, you should use other Derwent products with it to enhance. So I'm just butting up against, making sure I put down enough pigment for those blenders to move around. If you don't put down enough pigment, the blenders will just pick up the pigment and make a mess. So be careful of that. All right, so the first one we're going to use is the Caran d'Ache. And we're going from light to dark. It definitely takes out the white spot. However, I've still got a pretty hard line there. Excuse me. Make sure that you wipe your blender and make sure that you don't have any other color on there. So I'm now using the Derwent blender. Which is a little bit harder. But it is taking out the white spot, and it is blending those colors together a little bit better than the Caran d'Ache. I'm getting a lot less of that hard line in there, so it softens up that line a little bit. All right, now we're going to try the white. So we're going to take our red and we're going to take our deep red, so cranberry, and we're going to put the cranberry down first. Nice thick layer. The reason why I'm using really dark colors for this is because sometimes the white, if it's a very opaque white, will dull those colors down. It'll change them into, like with red, it'll change it into pinks. With purples, it'll lighten it up. You know, basically, most colors, it'll just lighten it up or change it to the lighter tone, such as pink with red, and I think red's the only one that changes into a different color with white, now that I think of it. All the rest of them, you know, with white just become a lighter version of themselves. Putting down a good heavy layer, though it doesn't make a lot of difference when using white how heavy your layer is, because you're going to be adding more colored wax to that with the white. Alright, that's white gray. I want actual white. There it is. Do not mix your white gray with your white. I'm going to dust that off, make sure that there's no excess bits. And as you can see, even though it does change the color slightly, it does blend those colors together seamlessly. So you get a much better edge when using your white than you do with the blenders. The reason being is because it's made of the same formulation that the rest of the pencils are made with. So you will find that the best thing to blend with, of course, is the pencils that you're working with. So as you can see, the gradients in between the two has blended and meshed together very easily. However, the color has changed drastically because of the opacity of the white. Alright, so those are our tests. Again, the water test, it did quite well with the water test. The red moved a little bit, but not a whole lot. Not enough that I wouldn't say that they are a little bit water resistant. However, they did smudge with my hands, so I will have to be careful when going over things like the reds with my hands. They did do a 3-color blend quite nicely. They did do a rainbow blend, which did create orange and green. The blenders did okay. I prefer the Derwent blender over the Caran d'Ache blender, only because it did blend that together with and smooth out that edge a little bit more. The white did smooth the edges out much better. However, it did bring that color down because it does have a heavy color to it. The Amazon cost of the Derwent Coloursoft are $124.85. Like I said, they are a 4mm core, and they do color very, very nicely. Now we're going to color with these in our Art Matters, because your imagination can change the world. If you remember, the last one we did was Cats Explode, Make Good Art. I love this little mouse. I just love the little mouse. All right, so the next one is somebody on the internet thinks what you do is stupid or evil, or it's all been done before. Make good art. So we're going to do this guy. And I'm going to take my clamp because I don't want to hold the book. You know, and in my opinion, what that is saying is, you know, everybody's brave behind the computer. Everybody's brave behind the confines of their spaces. And sometimes it's better just to ignore the trolls. Ignore the trolls. Because there's always going to be a troll. There's always going to be somebody out there that doesn't like what you do, that would prefer to demean and keep you from moving on with what you enjoy. Don't let the trolls take your joy. So I'm going through and I'm just adding some of that green. So this is dark green to the shirt area, I think. I'm not quite sure. And the green is more of the shadow than anything else. And you'll see why I've used the green once I add the other color. The other color that I'm going to use is gray, which will give me that gray-green color that I like so much with things like this, like Trolls clothing. I like putting green-gray in Trolls clothing. It just gives it a moldy kind of look. Like he's been sitting behind that computer too long. Now, the paper in this book is not coloring book paper. It is not art paper at all. It is a paper for printing written word. So coloring in this book can be a little bit difficult. The pages do not accept as much color as other papers, but you can still get pretty good results. Some pencils really don't like this paper, and some pencils don't mind it at all. The gray that I'm using is mid-gray. And of course, this evening we will be continuing on with Karen Meyer's Ancient Books out of the Chronicles Book 1. If you missed it, I did read Chapter 1 on Sunday, and I will read Chapter 2 next weekend, which will be out of Chronicles Book 2. So stay tuned for that, if that's something you're into. If not, then don't worry about it. Alright, now we're just going to come across this side. Try not to color his ear. I think my camera moved. It's like, why do I have to lean so far on my desk? Because my camera was moved. Must have been when I cleaned off my desk the other day. I had such a mess on my desk. Alright. Now we're going to do his skin. So let's grab Ginger, first of all. And a little bit of purple. Oh. So we're using bright lilac. find his eyes. And those crevices there. All right. And again, the color I'm using now is Ginger, which is 550. Bright Lilac was number 260. And we will go through and lighten up this darker color. We're going to be adding some gray to his skin as well, because you know he's not getting a whole lot of sunshine. So you know he's not going to have a whole lot of color to his skin. He's going to be very ashen colored. So after we get the tones on his skin, then we will start giving him that troll look. But yeah, don't let the internet trolls take your joy. You know, there's always going to be a troll. And I have had a few of them. All of us have. And a lot of people have stopped creating because of the trolls and because of the stress that they cause and the questioning of whether or not you're good enough, of whether or not you're doing what you should be doing and what it is enjoyable. Do not, you know, do everything you do for yourself, for your enjoyment. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. You know, unless it's something like work, and you know that kind of thing has to be done even if you don't enjoy it all the time. But don't be discouraged just because somebody says they don't like what you do, if that makes sense. There has been times where I've just wanted to say, yeah, I'm done, just because of an internet troll. And a lot of people have said, yeah, no, you're not. You're not doing it. All right, now I'm using Peach, which is 560. And as you can see, when I go over that ginger color with the peach, it lightens it up quite a bit. Going into that purple. Making sure I miss the moles best I can. I'm really hoping that the internet holds out today. It's been very, very stormy the past couple of days. And one problem with my internet service provider is when it gets stormy like this and the water starts building up, it tends to drop my internet. So I'm really, really hoping that it doesn't drop my internet, because I got live streaming to do. I've been away for a month and I'm like really, really jonesing for live streams and coloring. And when I was sick, I didn't do a lot of it, and I should have done a little more, but when you're sick, you just can't. You just can't. Same with when you're depressed. You know, you just can't. There's just some times where you have to realize and recognize that, yeah, it's just not what you want to do, or what your brain will allow you to do. So you just have to go with the flow on that one. especially if you've been sick. All right, now we're going to use pale peach. Oh, I didn't do around his nose. Maybe I did, I just didn't do it enough because I couldn't even see it. Now we're going to use pale peach, which is number 570. Again, making sure I don't go over top of the moles too much. And I'm just very loosely coating the whole area. Because I'll be coming through with another color, giving it that gray tone. And I don't want to take up too much of the paper so that I can actually add that gray tone. Alright, so there we have our skin tone. Now we're going to put in our brown earth. I'm going to do his earrings as well. I'm going to give him dirty ears, because you know he probably hasn't cleaned them. You know, I could have done those as you know, pimples or something, but blemishes. But I think they're more moles. I'm going to be nice and just do them as moles. Now I'm using lichen green. Which isn't really a green at all, it's more of a brown. And I'm going to do his hair this color as well. What little hair he has. Alright, now we're going to take our gray, and I'm going to take steel gray, which is a very light bluey gray. And I'm just going to go very gently over different areas. And the paper's not taking it very well, so I won't be using too much of it. Just enough to give him that look. The paper's really not liking it. And this is why I let you know that this is not coloring book paper. This is not the best showing of what these pencils can do. This is just because I want to get this book done. I should have had it done in September, but then I got sick. Well, first I went away and then I got sick. Otherwise it would have been done by the end of October. So hopefully we can get it done by the end of December. Maybe. Alright. And I am definitely making him troll-like. You know, this is my vision of a troll. You know, they're not well kept. Kind of ashen because they don't get any sunshine. And I know this because I used to live with one. Darn trolls. No, my ex wasn't a troll. Well, maybe he was, but he spent a lot of time up at night instead of the day, so he didn't get a lot of sunshine during the day. I think it gets more now, but he used to look a little ashen sometimes. All right, so there is our troll. So let's do our desk. So we're going to take our brown earth again and make sure that I'm on screen. Under the keyboard. Under the mouse pad. Now I've got to assume that there's a monitor in front of him. Hold on 1 second. The one thing about getting better is, unfortunately, there's still little bits of things like the sneezes that happen constantly, which is annoying, especially when they happen and you're in the middle of something. All right, now we're going to use some ochre. And then we're going to take our gray. I'm just going to cover this whole thing with the gray, and then we're going to come back through with the black. Because this paper isn't taking a lot of pigment from these pencils, so we're going to do it the simpler way so that we can actually get the colors we want on the page. Like so. Now with the mouse pad, I'm just going to go under his hand with the black, and then I'll go with the gray on top of it because I want to lighten that up a little bit. where on the keyboard I wanted the black to stand out, and that's why we did the black after doing the gray. And I think we're going to give him a nice red. If I can find my red. Mouse. Just because. There it is. So the top part of the mouse is going to be red, and the bottom part will be green and will be black. He just looks like one of those people that would have a red mouse. I don't know why. Alright, and we'll take our black. And there we have our little mouse as well. Alright, so there we have our troll. It says somebody on the internet thinks what you do is stupid or evil or it's been done before. Make good art. So no matter what anybody else thinks of what you do, continue doing it. If you're making good art, don't let the trolls win. Alright guys, with that, thank you all very much for watching. Again, this is for the Derwent Coloursoft colored pencils. That is our pencil of the week. Next week we will move on to the next page in the book here, because art matters, because your imagination can change the world. How many pages do we have left? A few. We've still got a few. We might get it done by the end of October. Or not the end of October, the end of December. Maybe. Alright, so remember to put your page behind your artwork so that the ink does not transfer to the next page. Alright guys, with that, thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to zoom you out so you can see the swatch chart one more time. We'll go over the results from our testing. And we will take one more look at the troll because he's cute. I think he turned out really good. He turned out very good for a troll. So again, the Coloursoft have 72 colored pencils. They have a really good selection of colors. I will say that they are fairly water resistant. They do smudge with my hands. However, this is a test that is specific to you. If they smudge with my hands, they may not smudge with your hands. It is definitely specific to each person. They did do the 3-color blend very nicely. They did do the rainbow blend, which gave us our red orange, our yellow orange, yellow green, and blue. With the blenders, I found that they did move better with the Derwent blender. However, they still move quite nicely with the Caran d'Ache. But the best way that I found to blend these pencils is with themselves. So with the white, I was able to get that blend to seamlessly go together. They do cost about $124.85 on Amazon, and I will leave those affiliate links below the video. I will leave a link to my swatch chart, which is this swatch chart here. If you want to utilize it, please feel free to do so. Alright guys, with that, thank you all very much for watching. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And of course, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye-bye for now.